Hi everyone, it's Emma. Welcome back to another video. So I hope you've all had a really nice week and you've been enjoying all of the content from all the different artists here at Wheelworks. This week we're going to move on from all the introduction to photography and we're going to start experimenting with a few different techniques and maybe get into some editing and things like that today. I think we've talked long enough about all of the technical details and all the different settings and things like that with our cameras. Hopefully you've been practicing all of those techniques and now we can start to just experiment with angles and perspectives and maybe get into a little bit of editing to see how we can create really cool, amazing pictures. So we're going to start off today by talking about perspective when we're taking a photograph. Now usually when we have our phones or a regular camera, you tend to just hold the phone from your point of view, from your height, where your eyes are. You hold the phone in front of you and that's where you take the picture from. So when I'm teaching these workshops, sort of one-to-one or in groups when we're not doing it online, one of the first things that I would teach my students is to change your perspective. Don't just take the picture how you see every day. We want to take a picture from a different angle or maybe try and capture the world in a way that we haven't seen it before. So the first thing I would say is look up. So instead of taking a picture straight ahead of you like that, I would look up, I would get my camera and I would face it upwards. I'd be like this, trying to just get a different view of the world, maybe get some really cool clouds, but instead of having an angled picture where maybe you can still see the top of trees, it's just like as if you were lied on the floor just looking up at the clouds. In fact, I encourage lying down. Lie down on the floor, on your back or on your stomach, take a picture forwards or upwards. It's really amazing for getting birds flying overhead and getting them in the middle of a bright blue sky, which we're very lucky to have been getting at the moment. It's really nice just to capture all the different clouds and the patterns and the different shapes. It's great to get aeroplanes. There's not as many going overhead at the moment, but it's really good for getting just those really cool overhead shots. And yeah, capturing the world a little bit differently. Same again, I would say look down. So not necessarily angled down, but directly down like that. So I'd have my phone and make myself higher and I would be taking a picture straight down, even if it's just of your feet walking or your feet in a setting. I really like pictures of trainers in different places. It kind of tells a journey. So you may have seen a lot of different pictures of shoes that were pretty big on Instagram a year or so ago. And if you just take a picture straight down of your feet, but wherever you are, say like every day you could make it a sort of photo journal, and then you could, make a little video, pop it up on Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, anything like that. And it's just a really cool way to document what's going on in your life. It might just be you in your bedroom with socks on, or you could be in the middle of a meadow or grassy field, or just on the pavement, anything you like, but just taking that picture completely downwards just gives you a bit of a different perspective. I also really like to move the camera into a setting. So I'll explain what I mean by that. So say this is my phone and say we're in a field and this is grass. My hands are grass right now. We're using our imaginations. So I would get my phone, knowing that my camera is here and we've cleaned our lenses. We always clean our lenses. And I would put the lens into the grass, or I'd put it this way, upside down. So I was shooting straight through the blades of grass instead of just holding the phone towards them. So I'm always crouching down, I'm always lied on the floor, always trying to find a different way to capture something. It's also a really great way to document the world in a way that you've never seen it before. I mean, how often do we just lie down in the grass and see what it looks like from that point of view? I like to think that it's if you're like a little ladybird or a bug or something like that, or birds when they're on the floor. Like, that's how they're seeing the world. So we're taking pictures from that perspective as well. It's really, really cool, that one. If you have your phone, you're in the grass, holding it like on the floor. You want to balance it, keep it nice and steady on the floor, and then you can get a really cool wide landscape with everything in. Using our rule of thirds, so your first third would all be grass, and then the other 2/3 would just be the landscape, like blue sky or the people, wherever you are. And it's just a really, really cool technique to experiment with. So change your perspective, look up, look down, put your camera into the grass, or, you know, just into a hedgerow or into flowers. Just get your lens into a different place so it's not just in front of you, what we see every day. It's not that those pictures are bad, they're great and they're cool, but we want to change it up a bit. We're going to be experimenting. So what I'm going to do is show you some pictures that I've been taking this week, and then what I did to change that perspective. So it's been really lovely the past week or so, and I've been wanting to capture lots of the blue sky. Now obviously to get that, we're going to be changing a perspective, we're going to be looking upwards. But I also wanted to give my image a subject, something a bit fun, a bit colourful, keeping things sort of fresh and light-hearted. I'm not really into very serious photographs at the moment. I'm trying to kind of keep things nice and fun for myself. When you're in isolation or social distancing, you want to take pictures of things that are going to make you happy, or things that you can have fun editing. So I was having an ice lolly for breakfast, because why not? I've been making ice lollies because I've been really sunny and it was bright orange, and then I had this blue sky and pink flowers in my garden, and I wanted to get them all in one picture. If I held the ice lolly in front of me, that was never going to happen. So I was lied back on my garden fence, holding my ice lolly upwards, with my phone nearly, not quite like this, but I don't know, kind of angles that, 45? Maybe 45-degree angle. I don't know, you can correct me on that, tell me what angle that was. But I was holding the ice lolly like this, phone right behind it, and then I had blue sky and my pink trees coming in, framing the image. We're going to talk about framing a bit later on in this video, but that was just a cool picture. I'm going to pop it up so you can see it here. Just nice and bright and fresh, made me feel a bit summery, and then I posted that online. My friends really loved it, everyone wanted to start having ice lollies, and it was just a bit of fun. I've also been taking lots of pictures of flowers when I've been out walking my dog. So I'll show you a couple of examples I took specifically to show you guys. So this is flowers just taken from my point of view as if I was just looking down at them. And then you'll see how I changed the perspective by getting right into the grass and putting my phone into the situation. So my phone is right in the grass there. Clicked it, I used my pro mode to focus on the camera, remembering to tap where we want the sharp, clearest part of our photo to be. So just that little daisy, I just wanted that one to really pop out, even though there are other ones in the background. And then you'll see that they're a little more blurry because I chose my subject matter and I made that really sharp. So they're just a couple I've been doing this week. Now, will I tell you about this now or will I tell you about it later? I'll tell you about it now, why not? Because we're talking about flowers. So I saw some cute little purple flowers at the field where I walk my dog. I don't know the name of them, maybe I'll try and Google them, or you can. But I thought it'd be a really fun way to show you how editing can totally change a picture and just make it a bit sort of pop art and fun. So when I'm teaching students, like I said before, I'll teach them all these techniques. Maybe we'll take pictures for half an hour, 45 minutes, and then we'll go inside and I'll show them how to edit their pictures. So with this one, I only changed one thing with the image, and that was the hue. That's H-U-E. You may or may not have heard of that before. It's just the the colour of the picture, but you can change each colour on their own colour wheel. So for example, this is the original picture, and then you'll see how I changed the colour just by sliding the hue scale left and right until I found a tone that I really liked, or just the colours that I liked. So you won't be able to choose the colours, it'll be the colours that are naturally in your image, and then they'll just move them along their own colour scale. And yeah, I really liked this one where it's sort of like purple and orange and yellow, so I went with that, but you could do anything you like. And I think that's just a really fun way of changing up our pictures, especially with flowers. Well, flowers are always beautiful, but it's kind of fun to be able to change the colour of grass. I get very bored with just bright green all the time, even though it's my favourite colour. I like changing things up, and I think it's a nice way to be a bit creative, but it's easy to accomplish. Okay, so next up, I'm going to be teaching you guys some cool photography tricks and hacks that I use in pretty much every photo shoot that I'll do. I've been promising you hacks, you've listened to all the technical stuff and you've learned, and now it's time to have some fun. So one of my favourite things to do when I'm taking pictures is use another phone or a tablet as a reflector in my image. I'll show you this image that I took just in my garden, and then I'm going to show you how I did that. So you can use it with landscapes, with trees, flowers, animals and people. Use it with people all the time. And what we're going to do when we have our phones with super clean lenses, because you want this to be as sharp as possible. I don't have another phone right now, but I do have another tablet, and I'll show you what the technique does. So it works best when we're in natural light outside. You might be able to get it inside if you've got some good light coming through a window, if you stood near a window, but mostly outside I know it's always going to work. It's always going to give me a really cool reflection. So if I hold this up to my face, so can you see that I'm reflected in the bottom there? If I just slightly tilt my tablet. So we're going to be using that reflection that's cast in the, I don't know what you call that, glass? Is it glass? Plastic. And we're going to use that to take a picture. So let me see if I can get one now, and I'll show you guys what I'm taking a picture of. So I'm always going to have my grid lines up, always, and this is the lens of my camera, so I want this right ahead like that. You could have it even like this, and that's going to give me a perfect reflection. I'll take the picture now, and I'll pop that up now so you can see it, but it'll give me a perfect reflection of whatever is above us. If you tilt it, you can change what you're seeing, but you'll be able to get sky down into the bottom of your picture. You'll be able to get flowers or leaves from the top of trees, and you can cast those into the bottom. And it's just a really cool way when you've got portraits. You can double up people's faces, or you can reflect a sky below the couple as well as above them, so they could look like they were walking on air or in the sky. It's a really cute thing to do with your dogs or your cats if you've got them, and you can get them to sit still long enough. Maybe bribe them with some treats. But that is one of my favourite hacks, and you'll see many professional photographers doing that, holding their phones off on standby so it's nice and black and reflective, and you just hold that above even your proper camera lens, and you get a beautiful reflection of the sky or the trees. I've done it with architecture, getting like cranes or wires or street lamps reflected below. It's a really good way if you've got like fairy lights at night. You can sort of reflect fairy lights into the bottom and the top of your images. There's a million different things you could do with that technique. It's a reason why it's so popular. It's so cool. You can do so many different things. It's so different every time. You could tilt it slightly and you would get something different reflecting in your picture. So I would give that one a go for sure. And please let us know what you're taking pictures of. Comment below if you've tried that and you like it, and definitely send us any pictures that you're taking. There'll be an email address at the end of this video, and please let us know what you're taking pictures of. I would absolutely love to see if you've tried out that technique and you enjoyed it. Definitely a favourite one of mine. So you can see the picture at the end here. I'll pop this down. And that's when I reflected the flowers on top of the flowers. And then I edited it to make this sort of cool cartoon look. That was just a filter that was on my phone. I think it was called Comic Book. And I just think I upped the contrast and then I made it look a bit cartoony because I thought it looked more like a painting or a drawing. But yeah, give that reflection technique a go. It's really, really cool. It's a great one to use around nature, I think, if you've got lots of trees or flowers or things like that. Yeah, give that one a go and let me know what you think. So another really cool hack that I have been using at the moment, I think particularly because it's been a bit sunnier and I've been wearing sunglasses, is using those as a filter when you're taking a picture. So I was in my garden the other day, because that's where I live now, because I can't go outside anywhere else, and there is a cherry blossom tree that I absolutely love, and I was just lying down looking at the sky and this cherry blossom is overhead. So I was already looking at a different perspective at this point, and I grabbed my phone and I just pointed it straight upwards and I took a picture of the cherry blossom. And then I decided to show you guys how you can use sunglasses as a really cool filter to change the colour on your picture. So you can see the original picture here that I took, and that was just the colours. You can see it's quite blue toned. If you remember when we were talking about the colours of natural light and how we can change that. So if you're not that comfortable using your pro settings, this is a really cool way to change the colour tone of your images without having to go into the settings and try and change things really fast. So it's quite blue, bright, still beautiful, but I thought it would be fun to bring my sunglasses over my lens and then take the picture through them. These ones were quite a brown yellow lens, and then it gave me this result, which I thought was really cool. Now my sunglasses are very smudgy because they're covered in sun cream and fingerprints, so I could probably have got a clearer picture, and different sunglasses will have a different tint as well. So if you've got some, they might have a sort of a purple or a blue tint, and that could be fun to take pictures through, or they could give you like a pinkish tone. But it's really, really fun, even if you can see that it's sunglasses that you're taking through, or you can hold them really close to your phone and just use them like you would use a filter on your phone, or if you've got a professional camera, you can get filters that you attach to your lens. So that's another really cool hack to give a go. See how you can change the perspective of a picture. If something's sort of really green or really blue and then you put in the yellow or brown lenses in front of it, it's going to instantly warm it up. I also used to do that when I was younger. It's a really cool way to take pictures of the sun, but without completely blinding yourself and the lens. If you just pointed your phone at the sun, you're just going to get a big white ball of light in the middle of your photo. But if you put sunglasses or anything, take pictures through anything, but if you put that in front of the lens, and then it'll do exactly what it does to your eyes, you know, it tones it all down, and it means you could get some cool pictures. Just remember, you're using the rule of thirds. The sun should be sort of top third, left or right, up to you. But experiment with that one and give that a go. Let me know what you think. So the last thing we're going to talk about today is framing an image. Now that doesn't mean that we're going to put up one of those cartoon frames that you can get in your filters and things like that on your phone or on Facebook or anything like that. It means that we're creating a frame for the subject of our photograph in the picture itself. So if you're taking a picture of hills or mountains, you might want to have leaves or flowers or something framing the edge of the image, and it kind of draws you into the picture. You can take it through a fence and use, you know, the what's it called, like the mesh as a frame for your image. You can take a picture out of a window, but with the window in the picture. That's one of my favourites to use. I'll pop up some pictures here as an example so you can kind of see how I frame images. I really love to take pictures of mountains or hills but out of a window. Not only is it framing the image itself, but I think it also gives you a sense of place with the photograph. You're understanding where the photographer was, and yeah, it gives you a bit more of an atmosphere, a sense of the environment that that person's in. Cityscapes are really cool if they're framed with, you know, buildings or any sort of architectural or industrial bits and bobs, I don't know, cranes or things like that. But that's a really, really cool technique to fill up a photo with loads of different aspects and elements, but by really focusing the viewer's attention on what you want. So framing's important. You can use it and you can not use it. You can kind of see before and afters, but it's a really cool technique to try out. Taking a photograph through something really helps. So I might take a photo of, like, say I was on a walk recently and I took a picture of a duck. Maybe I'll pop it up here so you can see. But I didn't just go and take a picture of the duck in the open. I went behind a bunch of branches and then I framed, and it was kind of like this, until he was perfectly framed within some branches. Just thought it was more interesting and it was cool. The picture had loads of different shapes and elements and textures to it, but I knew that you would be looking exactly where I wanted, which was at the lovely duck. So yeah, that's a pretty important technique, I would say, in photography. You can use it and you can not use it. See what you prefer. If you're more of a minimalist photographer, you might not enjoy a lot of framing, or certainly not decorative framing, but it's definitely cool. It gets you looking at the world a bit differently, which is what today's workshop's all about, perspective. So even if you're taking a picture of someone out of the window, but we have the window in the shot, or through a fence, but we can see the fence. Very important that you're tapping the phones when you tap your focus points, so that your phone doesn't automatically focus on what's closest to it, which would be whatever you were using to frame the image. So you want to make sure you're tapping to focus on exactly what you want, and then take the picture. Take a couple, use a few different things as frames. I will sometimes cheat this a little bit and I'll hold things in front of my camera. So if I wanted it to look like I was taking a picture like through a tree with lots of leaves and things, but they're a bit too high up for me, I would maybe just reach and bend a branch down in front of my lens so that the leaves were in the top. I'll pop some examples up so you can see what I mean. But it just adds a little depth to the image, and yeah, it looks really beautiful. So that's going to be the last tip and trick for today. I hope you've enjoyed this. It's a bit more fun, all of this stuff. Once you've kind of got all the basics down, you can go out and you can try all of these things. So I hope that you're enjoying these workshops. Let us know anything that you're taking pictures of. I'd love to see them, that would be really fun. Definitely, I think sharing some photographs during this time will brighten everyone's day. So I hope you've enjoyed that, and I will see you guys next week. Bye.